Don't Worry, Darling came out this week. We actually saw it. Stay tuned for our review.
Yes.
But before we go into the review, we thought we should finally, now that everything has come to light and seems to be done, let's recap some drama.
Yes. So basically, we kind of want to give a brief timeline as to, I don't have exact dates and times, but I remember shit unfolding as it was happening.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into the story that came out in Vulture that kind of got to the bottom of what the drama was. So basically, people started noticing that Florence Pugh, a few months ago, was not really promoting Don't Worry Darling at all. Like, she posted the trailer. That's it. People would tag her from the movie. She wouldn't respond. Specifically Olivia Wilde. And it's like, okay. And people started coming up with the fact that, like, I think something must have gone down because normally Florence Pugh promotes all of her projects. And while we said, hey, that's not really typical of a normal actor. Basically, if you're posting stuff on social media, what a lot of people don't know as an actor, that's in your contract. Like, when you sign up for the movie, you sign that you will participate in promotion of the film, which means on certain days, at certain times, you post trailers, posters, all that stuff. But now, what they were pointing out, people online were just saying, like, yeah, but there's not even, like, behind the scene, like, nothing. Which, okay. But, that could have been seen as whatever. But then the Venice Film Festival happened, and she didn't look at Olivia Wilde at all and didn't do anything, like didn't even speak to her. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, something did happen. But the social media probably just wasn't in her contract. That's what we predicted. We were half right, half wrong. Mm-hmm. But anyway, more drama with the film. People thought Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine. He didn't. It was just a thing that looked like he did.
Spitgate.
Spitgate. And then there's the thing with Shia LaBeouf, who was hired onto the movie. And Olivia Wilde was doing a bunch of press saying that Shia LaBeouf was fired from the film. And Shia LaBeouf brought receipts to Variety and was like, no, I quit the movie, and here's you trying to get me to come back to the movie.
With the video of Olivia Wilde.
Yes.
Shia.
Yes. So basically that put things into a weird perspective with Olivia Wilde. And while I think that part of it is dead, and that Olivia Wilde kind of lied about Shia LaBeouf, although what might have happened is Shia might have quit, and Olivia was going to fire him. And it just kind of worked itself out.
That she was recently on Stephen Colbert's show.
Yeah.
And he like straight up asked her, he's like, did he quit or did you fire him? Mm-hmm. And she
dodged it.
She kind of dodged it, and he kept asking again. And he was like, so what you're saying is he was going to quit, so you fired him, or you were going to fire him, so he quit? And she was like,
yeah.
It's like,
so
yeah, he quit.
Yeah,
that's my
guess.
My
interpretation of that is he did quit the film because she wouldn't have reached out saying, I want to make this work. I feel like if she fired him.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, so that's dead. But then there was still this hanging thread of Florence Pugh of like, what is going on with that? So Vulture did some reporting, and we officially have what happened on the set of Don't Worry Darling, specifically in regards to Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde. I'm going to pull from that Vulture article now. About 3/4 of the way through filming, Pugh had reportedly grown fed up with the director's frequently unexplained absences. Olivia and Harry would just disappear, our source says. But the breaking point came when Pugh, 26, and Wilde, 38, broke into a screaming match, this person recalls. According to our source, the acrimony allegedly reached all the way to the top of the studio totem pole after production wrapped, with the highest-ranking Warner Brothers executive at the time, Toby Emmerich, forced to play referee in a long-term negotiation process to ensure that Pugh would participate in the film's life cycle in any way and not jeopardize the potential box office of the film. And it was later in that article revealed that part of the agreement was that Pugh would not participate in the press. So, while we knew it involved contracts, she negotiated it out of her contract to promote the film because she was so upset with Olivia Wilde's absences on set. Basically, her and Harry Styles, happened on Don't Worry Darling.
Well, I believe also, I think Florence Pugh and Jason Sudeikis, Olivia Wilde's ex, are close.
They are. They're friends.
So, on top of all of that,
yeah,
it probably just made it like, okay, well, this is my friend.
Yeah.
And I believe they were already split by the time that, but like...
It was, that's my friend. I don't know how to address that at work.
Yeah.
And then it became, okay, now you're not showing up to work.
Yeah, now it's like, all right, I'm going to leave that at the door.
Yeah.
I was hired to do this job. I'm going to do the job. But then the director's not doing their job. They're running away with the person who may or may not have been cheating on with.
Yeah.
And
it's just like, listen, I'm here to work. Why aren't you here to work? That's basically what it became.
Yeah.
And here's what I will say about the situation. One, Olivia Wilde, if it's true, come on. Show up to set. I understand Harry Styles is very hot. I agree. Right? You're there to do a job, do the job. Right? And I think she's a great filmmaker. I do. Florence Pugh, good on you for playing fucking ball. She was like, I just don't want to promote the movie. I won't talk shit.
Yeah.
I won't do any of that. I just want to promote the movie. I just don't want to promote the movie.
I think with that, like, so much respect to Florence Pugh. Because, one, I think she's one of the most talented actresses working in Hollywood currently.
Big agree.
Hands down. And she gives a hell of a performance in the movie, which we'll get to into the review. But also, like, the screaming match and, like, everything like that. On set, I feel like a lot of people look to the actors and the directors to set a standard.
Yes.
So in that moment, I really don't even think Florence Pugh was standing up for like herself or just like, you know what, this is angering me. I think it was all of these people are here trying to do your vision and you're not here. So like it's not even for her.
Yeah.
It was more for like, look at all of these thousands of people that are here to help on this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paid, but working on this.
And I'm curious too, because it had to have, I assume it had to have happened late in production. Because from what we know about most people who worked on set said the production was mostly smooth.
Yeah.
And then it says they played referee after the film wrapped, like to figure out the deal. So I'm thinking it was at the end of production when Florence Pugh finally was just like, that's it.
Like, what do we got? A day left?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go off now. But like, so that's interesting. And also, Warner Brothers, in response to this story, put out a statement
Did they?
saying that Olivia Wilde ran a wonderful set. We love her. We love working with her. All is well. Okay. Now, have worse things gone on set? Yes. Do I think Olivia Wilde's career should be hurt because of this? No. I just think she made a mistake. Right? Because from what we know about Booksmart, she was always present, was always there, was always being the director, you know? So, while I understand Florence Pugh's upset, which she finally did post pictures with Olivia Wilde, finally.
Oh, did she?
After the movie came out. But
she's like, all right,
yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah. But also, I love how it's like, oh, she can't. And I bought this too for a little bit until I thought about it. But it's like, oh, Florence can't promote the movie because she's filming Dune 2. They're both Warner Brothers movies. You don't think when they hired her for Dune 2, they wouldn't leave spaces in her to promote their other movie at the same studio?
Well, also, I'm sure she has a PR team that would handle posting.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
Hey, emails, photos on the set. We'll handle the Instagram post.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. So clearly, Pugh was pissed off. And I understand.
Yeah.
And now, this is me guessing. Olivia Wilde being very kind to Florence Pugh in the press, saying that she's great doing all this. To me, it comes across as apologetic. Like, just like, I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
And I would accept her apology, you know. But I also don't know what was said. Right?
That's the big caveat.
That's the big caveat.
What was
I don't know what was said, right? So we'll find out more about that. But that was it. That's what happened on set. Was Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde got into a screaming match over Olivia Wilde disappearances from the set. That's been uncovered. Now, let's do this to transition into the actual review of the film, which we did see this past weekend.
We did.
It wasn't bad.
It was not bad. It was not good enough for all of this drama that happened.
Agreed. It's not an overly fantastic movie, but it's not a bad movie by any means. Not at all. It does a lot of things great. The performances across the board are pretty great. Harry Styles does okay. There are scenes where he nails it, and there are scenes where he does not. And the scenes where he does not do stand out. But, I feel bad for Harry Styles because when you're a relatively new actor doing Dunkirk and Eternals, and those are very small roles, and it's like, all right, here's Florence Pugh, Chris Pine, Nick Kroll, all these people who've worked in the industry and are amazing actors for years, act against them.
I think my biggest thing with Harry Styles, and it's not even necessarily his performance, but you can just very clearly tell that role was not written for a Harry Styles type performer.
Yes.
And not even necessarily saying like, oh, it was written for Shia LaBeouf, because it probably was not written for Shia LaBeouf. But you can very clearly tell like, this person is not supposed to be in this role. And the tweaks that they tried to make it fit him were one forced.
There's a very obvious one that's hysterical. That one was like, oh my God.
Can we how spoilery can we get?
Let's not just
okay.
But
they address something way too late in the game is my biggest issue.
Yeah.
Because given the setting and the time period, I just thought it was bad acting.
Okay, I don't mind saying what it is.
Yeah.
Because I think differently than you.
Okay.
Basically, a lot of people we watched the movie with thought that Harry Styles was supposed to be playing an American.
Yes.
He's not. He's British. I right away was like, oh, he's British. Because he is British in real life, or English. I don't know what the proper term is. But a lot of people didn't realize that until about halfway through the movie, somebody says, oh, you Brits. And then that kind of, but there's a thing later that's what we're talking about that's like, oh my God, I can't believe that they had to do that later in the movie.
Yeah.
But to me, I was like, oh, he's British because Gemma Chan was British. And I was like, oh, okay. But now, if Gemma Chan was not British, I would be thinking how you were thinking. And that, like, is he trying to be American? Like, what's... But he wasn't.
Honestly, I didn't even pick up on the Gemma Chan thing. I was just like, given, obviously, from the trailers, the vibes are like these nuclear family, hometown America, and a majority of the cast is American.
Yeah.
So I was just led to, in my mind, that was what connected for me.
Yeah.
And then you see some of his acting, because a lot of it didn't sound British, which I think is the issue.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't so overly British, like but then he'd say a word and it was like...
Because it wasn't his normal British voice.
Exactly.
At least it didn't sound like it.
So I think that's where the conflict happened. Then when they introduced these British, I was like, that was way too late in the game.
Yeah.
For me to... So that kind of took me out of it for him.
I see it. I clocked it with Gemma Chan, and I was like, okay, he's British. But I get that.
Yeah.
With... What I will say about him, his chemistry with Florence Pugh
was actually pretty good, yeah.
One of the best parts of the movie is their chemistry. I thought Chris Pine crushed it. And for complaints about the movie, I would say that the only big things, two big things that I didn't like about the movie. One, when it started, I was super interested in what was going on. Each second the movie continued, I got less and less interested. And then the reveal at the end of what's going on, which I hate when people say movies are predictable, because to me that's not a bad thing. It's just how you pull it off.
Yeah.
Like if I guess what's happening, good for me, but do it in a way that's cool. So that didn't bother me that I figured out what was going on. Too late for me, the reveal. Because they did the reveal and then the end. Like, it didn't end immediately, but...
With what the concept of the reveal was, it should have been introduced like midway through the movie, and then it gives you a whole different avenue of story to bounce between.
And then the rest of the movie is about how does it get resolved.
It immediately adds so many more stakes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel the stakes.
Yeah,
in this.
exactly.
It should have been a thriller, not a mystery.
Okay, I see that. But also, another thing that just didn't work for me in the movie was there's sequences that are very experimental. And the first time was cool. The second time I was like, all right. And I know there are people
and the third time.
Yeah. And I know there are people who love experimental cinema and like the editing. And the editing itself was, in those moments were fine. But I was just like, okay, I'm sick of this. But also, the pacing of the movie, strange. That's my other big issue was the pacing. It wasn't paced very well. And there are scenes that the actual editing itself, I don't know if it was good or bad, because I don't know if this was an editor's choice or a Olivia Wilde choice. There are scenes that go on for too long. And it's not like you're supposed to sit in the moment. You know?
Yeah.
I'll give a great example. Chris Pine's introductory scene felt like it was 5 minutes long. And he eventually just...
That was when they're at the party?
At his house party, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That scene felt like it was 5 minutes long, like his speech.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the speech in half, because I'm pretty sure by the second half of the scene, he was just repeating what he just said.
Yeah.
It just... And I'm like, all right, I don't think this is spoilery. They want you to know Chris Pine, kind of sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good actor. I picked that up when he spoke, when he opened his mouth.
Yeah.
I don't need the creepy speech. I mean, some of the speech, sure. But like, oh, he's sketchy. Like right when he started talking. And it went on for some time. And I was just like, this can go. You know?
Biggest issue...
But there are moments like that throughout the movie.
I think my biggest issue with Chris Pine's character, wonderful performance.
Yeah.
But it's like that character he was playing, which you can kind of get from the trailers, is he's kind of like in charge of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And he kind of played like the weird, like calm, reserved, like cult leader type personality.
Yeah.
And then the crazy one.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he did it at the wrong times.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Like,
and you're trying to be vague, but but I see what you mean.
Like in the end, he should have been one of them, but he was the other, and it took me out of it entirely. I was like, what? Mm-hmm. Why is this happening?
I see what you mean.
Also, I felt like there were too many characters.
There were a lot.
It felt like there was a lot because they had the one the one couple with the guy from WandaVision and
who did a very good job.
And his wife in the movie who's pregnant.
Yeah.
And then they introduced a new couple that moved into the neighborhood, and then there's the established one of like Olivia Wilde and Nick Kroll, and you're like bounce it, and you're like, cut one of these people.
Yeah. And I think that going into positives of the movie, very tense. Florence Pugh carries the movie. Very tense. Like I felt the intensity of the movie. When the mystery was unraveling at first, I was very interested in it. Mm-hmm. There are some sequences that are great.
Oh yeah,
sequences in the film. The score. Oh,
really good score.
Loved it, and it's very like it reminded me of the score for King Arthur, where it's just like the breathiness and like the. Yeah, but it's like that, but used for like horror, and it worked really well. I thought the score was really well done. I like. There's a chase sequence at the end that was better than it had any right to be. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed that chase sequence, and the overarching story of what is going on itself very disturbing to think about.
My biggest issue with that was I think it was a great concept that was not explored enough.
Could have been executed better. I agree.
Because they do the end. Mm-hmm. They reveal what's going on and then end.
Yeah.
And I feel like that hurt the movie more because I think overall everything was a great concept. And they had 70% of a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like we said, the movie is not bad. Mm-hmm. But I do think this had the potential to be an all-time great.
Especially
and it came short.
Especially after Booksmart.
Uh-huh. And how great that movie is.
That a debut. And then all the drama definitely didn't help it.
It didn't help.
I felt like all the drama didn't affect my
enjoyment of it. No,
movie.
Not at all.
Because
I wasn't even thinking about the drama when I was watching the movie.
The only thing I thought of throughout it was kind of just like picturing Shia LaBeouf in the Harry Styles role. But that was kind of really where it ended to me. Yeah.
No, but like, it's fine. I'd recommend it personally. In the world of recommend or don't, I'd recommend.
Yeah, if it's kind of just between those two, I'd definitely recommend. It's like I don't know. I feel like I'd want to revisit this movie once.
Yeah,
and be like, let me give it one more shot.
Now that I know what's going on,
see if I like it more or less.
How it plays differently. Yeah.